Hey leaders, so this is the short lesson on ROE that I didn't get to cover during our live session that I just wanted to give you a snippet of right now. So I call this ROE 101, and remember, ROE stands for return on energy. So the complement to ROI, return on investment, I also want you to assess and analyze things that give you energy and drain you of energy. So, how do you do that, considering it's not a topic most people teach on, and maybe nobody does? But I'm going to break it down for you today. So, this is all about how to increase your physical, mental, and emotional energy. So, if you recall, we've talked about this before in the Ultimate Life Framework for High Achievers. It's what I call the triad of transformation. There are three things you always want to pay attention to: MAE, mindset, action, and environment. Now, a quick breakdown of each. I won't go through all of them, but remember your mindset. I specifically look at your perspective, where you put your focus, the story that you apply to things, and specifically the words you're using. Then we can go into your action mode, which is really your habits, your rhythms, your rituals, your routines, your commitments, your strategies, your calendar. That's what I mean by action. So, assessing each of those, I can see a lot of where you might be held back and why you might be being propelled forward. The other one I look at is environment, and that's your physical spaces, the people you associate with, the locations you go to, the proximity, the podcasts. What I mean by that is just all the inputs you receive, also your digital spaces. All of that is part of your environment. Now, I want you to keep that in mind because when I talk about your mental and emotional energy, so just see ME as your mental and emotional energy, that's what we'll focus on today. And I want you to note that they are impacted often by three things. Your physiology, so how you physically move and hold your body, that's going to impact your mental and your emotional energy. Your focus, so where you put your focus, what is your perspective on something? What am I looking at? What am I giving all of my focus and attention to? And then thirdly, are the words that you use, the language that you attach. So, for the sake of simplicity, today I'm actually just going to focus on words. Now, the first two are part of a much larger course that I do, but today I just want to focus on the words that you use as a way to increase your energy over the long haul. So, remember that the words you speak influence the meaning that you create, and the meaning you create influences the emotions you feel. And conversely, the emotions you feel will impact the energy you have. So if I turn this into a formula, it essentially looks like this. The words you use create meaning, the meaning you give things impact your emotions towards it, your emotions, how you feel in this moment, happy, excited, joyous, thrilled, angry, depressed, frustrated, sad, will then impact your energy, right? The first set of emotions likely going to give you very high energy. The second set of emotions likely going to give you very low energy. So if you're someone who wants to have sustained high energy over a long period of time, one of the ways that you can do that to increase your ROE, your return on energy, is to pay attention to the words you use on a daily basis. So a tool here that I developed is what I call the high ROE versus low ROE phrases. And I'll get to that in a second. But remember this, if the words you speak can impact the energy you have, then I want you to ask yourself, what words am I using to describe this current task, this current person, this current situation, this current moment? What are you saying in your head or even out loud about it, them? And then in the second question, what words am I using to describe myself right now? What are you saying about you? Are they negative words about yourself? Are they positive words about yourself? And do these words give me energy or do they drain me of energy? Right? So whatever phrases you're using, audit that first, and then do an energy assessment. When I say this about myself, when I say this about this person, when I say this about the situation, what's my energy level because of that? And so remember, there are things called low ROE versus high ROE language. So the words we use are now our language on things. And some of us have by default very negative language, and some of us by default have very positive language. Maybe but some of us by design have trained ourselves to be more positive, more opportunity based. Others, maybe you're just, I actually want to be more negative. I actually want to be this way. But whatever it is, I want you to just pay attention to the energy you get from speaking that way. And so, as I mentioned, I developed this thing called the low ROE versus high ROE phrase table. Now, these low ROE phrases are common phrases I often hear entrepreneurs, high achievers, very go-getter personalities use. And this is actually from another course I created where I talk about focus. And this was about how to take action, how to take focused action all the time. So, common low energy phrases I'd hear people say is, this sucks. I hate this. This is boring. This is tedious. There's so much to do. Why can't I focus? What's wrong with me? Where do I even start? I'm so far behind. And when they would say these things often in a session with me or out loud in a group call, I'd ask, okay, how do you feel when you say that? And typically, you can imagine it's a low energy feeling. I was like, great. So that could be true. It could be true that this sucks, but what would be better language around that? What would give you more energy? If you can manipulate the words you use to then manipulate the energy, the emotions you feel, and I want you to increase your energy, what could you say? So we started brainstorming, and some of the new high return on energy phrases moved from this sucks to this is one challenging puzzle, right? To go from problems to puzzle sounds like a very small switch, but problems had a lot of people feel some type of way. Puzzles lightened it up for a lot of people. They felt like, oh, it's like a game. I'm like a little kid again. I can solve a puzzle. I like solving a puzzle. I don't always like problems, right? So something as simple as that can increase your ROE. I hate this turned into, yep, I'm definitely going to delegate this eventually. And then a little laugh out loud because they chuckled afterwards, which is great. Great. Laughter is going to help with that ROE, increasing that. This is boring or tedious. Well, what would I want to do to make this more fun? So notice this became a question. Instead of just saying that, it's like, okay, I acknowledge I find this boring and tedious, but I'm going to say with my mouth, I'm going to use words that increase my energy. And as you can see, more of these examples, I won't go through all of them, but you could take a picture of this. In the email, you'll also have a PDF download of this exact table. You can print this out. But this can be a good start for you to start moving, auditing low return on energy phrases that you often use to what will be higher return on energy phrases that you could use. What are better words you could say? So your high return on energy language challenge for the week, this is a mouthful, right? High ROE language challenge is I want you to print out, or you can take a picture of the phrase table that I just showed you. Low ROE to high ROE. Then I just want you to pick one phrase, maybe one particular phrase or question that resonated with you in there that you're going to start switching to. I feel much better when I say this instead of that, Camille. Great. Then I want you to say that phrase, not just think it. I want you to say it out loud to yourself. And when you do say it out loud, just observe your energy. Observe how you feel after you said it. Do you feel a little bit better? Do you feel a little bit more energy coming back to you? If so, that's a good sign. If not, no problem. Change it up again. Choose different words. Remember, you have choice in this. And a little bonus challenge for my extra credit people. I want you to create your own low ROE to high ROE conversion table for phrases or words that you often use that you know can be improved. Either way, use this formula. Understand that words are very powerful. In fact, there's a whole study around this. There's a very famous TED Talk that recently came out that talks about how native languages change people's orientation to the world, and all of that to say that words are powerful. It changes our psychology, it changes our biochemistry, and it can increase your energy for the long haul. So, if there's anything I can leave you with on this basics of ROE today, is pay attention to the words you use. Are they giving you energy? Are they life-giving words, or are they draining you of energy? And if they are draining you, switch them up. Use a higher ROE phrase to build up that motivation, that resilience, and that energy for the long haul. All right, y'all. And if you have any questions around it, you can always contact me directly. Sign up for the newsletter if you don't already get the updates. But if you're on this email list, you should already be on the newsletter. And you can always email me directly at coaching@theultimatelife.com. Otherwise, have a great day, and thanks for watching.